blast off.
So spawning up here on the top left of Frost Ladder Edition, we have in the yellow Protoss pieces, Arazth.
His opponent spawning over here is the blue Protoss pieces on the top right-hand side of the map, which is Frost LE. We have Rzuna.
PvP, man, another PvP. You must have Protoss overload right now. I mean, the first few rounds of season 1, you were complaining that there were no Protoss players. Well, now we have this.
Now we're getting an overload of them. It's wonderful.
So much Protoss, and honestly, like I was saying, this is my favorite mirror matchup. As far as I know, neither of these players are confirmed cheesers, but I can't remember specifically. I think was it Aurora versus Rzuna or Aurora versus Arazth, one of these players that we actually saw do very well. I'm going to go out on a limb and say both of these are very skilled players, and I'm hoping we see like some awesome PvP. You know, not that cheese isn't fun to watch; it really is, but nice to see some deviation from that.
Yeah, definitely, and I mean it gives you a chance to actually see what the matchup is about. With cheese like that, not saying that it again is not fun to watch, but I mean you really can't see how the matchup plays out.
Yeah.
Whereas when you get two players that get into a drawn out matchup, you tend to see more of how the chess game decides to play out in this matchup.
So when you say that, in general, the first player to expand loses, do you, I mean, when you're actually playing the macro game, do you stand by that? Or is that just sort of when, it's so common for a Protoss player to all in a PvP that if one player decides to expand, they'll just punish him with a 4-gate or a 3-gate robo?
It really depends upon the read. It's been my experience that I usually get punished really hard for expanding, which is why I tend to say that. Now it doesn't always hold true, obviously, but I mean that's generally my experience. Is when I go into a match, if I expand, there comes my opponent with like 7 stalkers up my front door.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's really not a whole lot I can do about it because I just dropped the expansion. I don't have the gateways. I mean, it's just like the perfect storm of events when I enter that matchup and have that happen.
As you were saying, it just seems like, one tiny mistake and you've essentially lost the game. And there are actually a lot of volatile matchups like that. ZVZ kind of works the same way. One small mistake with your Baneling micro, if you're going through Ling Bling wars, and you've essentially just lost that game.
Yeah.
So I mean, I could see how that could be pretty frustrating.
And it is, and that's actually the worst part of the whole thing, is having that happen, because you're playing along, you're all pumped, and all of a sudden, oh shit, there's DTs in my base, and I forgot a robo. The cup check comes in. That's exactly what it is. Now, I like this play from Rzuna. This is something that was very, very popular here. I want to say
It's
a few months ago.
Okay, so it's the 3-gate Twilight Council.
Well, but I mean the Sentry first. That's the part that I like about this is for a while there was a lot of deviation around this build specifically where you could get the Mothership Core and the Sentry and make some synergy around it. And it was actually really, really effective in terms of fast expanding in PvP and things like that. Like it helped players expand for a little while until they figured out how to do it safely. Oh. And we see a robo facility coming out of Arazth.
I do think we are going to see the Blink Stalkers out of Rzuna. See, Blink is now on the way. And the Immortal is being chrono boosted out for Arazth. So, when you've got Blink, there is definitely more mobility there. You can do a bit more harassment, especially when you've got that Mothership Core for the vision. Now, again, as we were saying, one kind of misclick or really any mistake with your Blink Stalkers, and they're just going to fall prey to those Immortals. If he decides to actually go up into the main base, we've yet to see how he's actually going to play this out, but it is definitely going to be an aggressive opener.
Yeah, exactly. We do see the Immortal out now, so now I'm not 100% sure that Blink is going to be as effective as we thought it would be. That Immortal kind of nullifies things as long as the Immortal is kept protected.
Yeah. Now we have the initial few Stalkers here are moving out. I would expect him to bring this mothership port along just for the vision when that blink is done, but he isn't actually moving that mothership port just yet. It looks like we do see Arazth going to place down an expansion here. So we will see if he can be punished here with the Stalkers. Again, this isn't a big amount of Stalkers. It probably will just get immediately forwarded. Yeah, it looks like they're just going to back off there. Blink is actually about 15 seconds out. Meanwhile, an observer is out for Rzuna. Rzuna grabbing that robo facility. Now, I wonder, I didn't actually catch if Rzuna saw the Immortal when Arazth was bringing down his units to protect this natural here. But
You know, I didn't catch it either, but I think that may have been one of the reasons he backed off.
ooh,
He was actually just trying to use that as a.
I do actually love this pylon placement by Arazth as well. That just provides him that vision, so he will be aware if there is going to be a stalkers blinking up into the main or something like that.
And actually, he does now see. Yeah, he sees his opponent's stalkers up here, and the stalkers are going to get vision of that pylon, at least momentarily, and some defense coming out of Arazth, but
it's going to be hard to kind of keep track on where these stalkers are, especially when you can't really get an observer on them due to, well, Rzuna having his own observer, allowing your stalkers to shoot any of Arazth's observers that decide to check them out. Looks like actually Rzuna went ahead and expanded himself and drops down a forge and a couple more gateways as well.
yeah, and see now this is the point where you're pretty safe. You're pretty safe from the original mantra of if you expand first, you're going to die. Because you both expanded, obviously. You both actually have almost identical builds. Now, if I go structures tab, would you see 3 gateways for each player, but 2 more are coming out for Rzuna?
Is he going to blink? Is he going to blink? Oh, he's not. He's going to go into the front door, but he's going to immediately get out of there after seeing those Immortals. Good call. But he could just blink right up into the main and just really exploit the fact that his opponent's army can't really get up there so quickly, but looks like he's just going to back off for now.
And we do have some Zealots entering into that mix, and then the full retreat back home for Rzuna. So at this point, economically, Rzuna is a little bit behind since Arazth had his expansion up sooner, was a little bit more protected from that blink with those Immortals and that pylon placement originally. It's no longer there. But economically, Arazth sitting pretty comfy.
Yeah, definitely getting up on those upgrades as well. Chrono boosting out +1 of weapons and armor. Rzuna also starting his upgrades as well, working on +1 attack right now. The second forge is just about finished, and will likely follow up with +1 armor. But yeah, the Twilight Council for Arazth is just about finished as well. And so we'll see where he actually goes with this, if he goes for blink or goes for charge. I wouldn't expect DTs at this point, but I mean, it's always a possibility. And the Robo Bay goes down.
Anymore, I feel like DTs are kind of, when they say anytime Dark Shrine, I feel like it's viable literally any time because you're using them as a harassment tool.
Yeah.
You're not using them you're not really using them to completely win the game for yourself, but you're using them to keep your opponent off guard.
Rzuna does get in there and snipes one of the pylons. Is he going to get
no.
that robo facility? No, he is not. He's going to blink out of there. So not a whole lot of damage done there, but still was able to snipe a pylon, forcing his opponent to drop down another one. Not a game changer, but just annoying overall.
Another warp into 3 stalkers from Rzuna. Rzuna actually looking pretty committed to trying to make this blink play work.
Now, Rzuna actually also dropped down his own Robo Bay, so both players now have the capacity to start building Colossus. Arazth only has 1 Robo.
Oh my god,
Same for Rzuna.
Did that get spotted? Like, does Rzuna know that there's a warp prism out for Arazth?
He may not have been paying attention, but he is pulling back his stalkers. I don't know. He's not going up there to chase it, so maybe he didn't actually catch that. But That would be a good opportunity to throw in the DTs, like you said. A War Prism in the main.
Arazth with one Colossus on the way and working on 2-2 upgrades as we were speaking, or 2-1 upgrades
And
as
the
we're
War
speaking.
Prism is here, and there is a big Zealot Warp in here in the main. 6 Zealots on the way. There's only a one Stalker, and never mind, the response Warpin from Rzuna is going to be able to take care of this before that Robo Bay falls. So nicely done by Rzuna. Very nice cleanup. But do you see that Dark Shrine? There it is. So you were right.
Yeah.
Anytime Dark Shrine.
That's right. And we actually see 2-2 just about done for Rzuna, and level 2 weapons is just about done for Arazth, excuse me, is on 2-2.
Another Zealot Warpin from Arazth is able to take care of that Robo Bay. One Colossus will get out, but he will not be able to make any more until he replaces that building. Oh man, so
that's definitely not a position that you want to be in. Now, we do actually have a Photon Cannon coming down from Rzuna, so that's going to... Oh, and the Warp Prism getting picked off. So, I mean, at this point, Arazth's going to have to rely on solely proxy pylons for DT warpins.
Both players have definitely been very good with their observer placement and production. So I don't feel that DTs, if they aren't warped in another strategic location, that they will be able to actually walk in the front door. That's not something I see happening. The Dark Shrine is finished, so we will see how that actually comes into play here. Rzuna replacing that Robo Bay, but also dropping down to Templar Archives. So now we're going to start to see the transition of these players into more focused around tier 3 units and getting up to that Death Ball status. They're both of their supplies are very equal, very close worker counts. Both of their upgrades are very close as well.
Yeah, and actually we see Blink being researched now for Arazth. Level 3 weapons also on the way, and level 3 armor. So Arazth still ahead on the upgrade count, seeing as his Rzuna is only on level 2 ground armor.
Yeah. Now, Arazth will be ahead in the Colossus count. I didn't actually catch that. When Rzuna lost his Robo Bay, he lost Extended Thermal Lance as well. It was just about finished. So now he's forced to re-upgrade that. Ooh, and the DT Warpin, where is that? Where are these DTs? They are somewhere. Oh, he must be morphing them into Archons.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think they became Archons on the front of the base. So Archon's actually a really good mix into this composition that Arazth has going on now. He is on double Robo, so he's going to seriously start taking the lead in the Colossus count here very, very shortly.
Yeah, and we will see if the Archon's here. I don't know. I mean, he's up ahead on the Colossus count and the Archon count. Rzuna appears to have more Zealots, but I don't think that's going to change an engagement, though he does have Blink. And though at the same time, Arazth just finished, or just about to finish, his own Blink research.
And we do have that pylon from Arazth being put in a forward location. The probe getting taken out.
Rzuna is ahead on supply, but Arazth looks like he wants to move out here. Splitting up his army, setting a few of these stalkers up north. Is he just gonna get into the main there? I think he's setting an observer. Yeah, he's just gonna try to counter with a warp, or not a warp, a blink, up into here into the main.
Yeah, we have the Mothership Core from Arazth just kind of floating on by, going to completely miss this blink up into the main, and there it is, the blink by Rzuna up, going to pick off that one pylon, picking off another pylon, and going to slowly start working away at the main base. Now, 2 Colossus just do pop out.
That one is stuck behind that pylon. How unfortunate.
And they get completely...
He's going to try to back up. Catching the stalkers with those Colossus there. Definitely well done by Arazth. Definitely good on his positioning there. Completely cleaning that up. Taking the supply lead.
Yeah, and I think that was one of those pivotal mistakes that...
Zero Lambda just dropped. All right, are you here with us, Zero?
Still here.
Okay. It did say there was a problem in the call, and it said I heard the little drop noise, and I saw the stream stutter. So I don't know if you blue screened, but apparently it's okay. All right, just wanted to make sure because I know you forewarned me about that.
Now we do see Arazth going to go ahead and move out across the map. Supplies right now, again, fairly even. Upgrades still in the favor. Okay, not anymore. Upgrades are even. Yeah. Level 1 shields being upgraded for Arazth. Now, this push, I think just in terms of unit composition, is going to go in the favor of Arazth since he lost all of the... Rzuna lost all of the stalkers.
Yeah, I mean, both of these players are at Deathball status, though Arazth is a little bit bigger. Arazth is actually behind by 3 on the Immortal count, but he has more Colossi. 2 more Colossi than his opponent. Though they are even on upgrades. You know, there are 4 more Zealots as well for Rzuna, and Rzuna is not quite supply capped. If Arazth doesn't push in soon, he might actually lose this advantage.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's attacking up the choke point. We have actually a really good spread coming up Rzuna. So this is going to be kind of brutal to attack up into.
Ooh, are we going to see a big engagement here? The death balls collide.
Uh-oh, this is not good.
It doesn't look like he's going to turn around.
He's not. He's actually going to try and bait Rzuna into that choke point, and Rzuna not going to bite.
But he actually threw 3 more Colossi in there, so that is understandable. Warping in, or actually hallucinating in a few Phoenix there to keep an eye on the opponent's death ball. But his Colossus count is just massive in compared to Rzuna's, and I think this is just going to go.
Oh, and he does actually manage to push him out of position.
Oh, no. Oh, the Zealots. He didn't leave with the Zealots. He led with the Archons, and that is just going to cause him to get destroyed in this engagement. Look at that supply plummet.
And that is exactly what happened. Rzuna getting completely obliterated on the bait out, and the GG well played comes out of Rzuna.
Wow, that that's the tiny mistake. Rzuna leading with the Archons, and the Zealots all got trapped behind the line of Archons, and everything just got annihilated. But
further enforcing the fact PvP is a coin flip.
Yeah, that
they had almost identical compositions, but it didn't matter.
You know, I think it might have made a small difference if the Zealots were in the front, but regardless, I mean, the Colossus count for Arazth was just a lot higher, and I think that really was the nail in the head for the most part.
I feel.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the Colossus count plays into that, but then also baiting the army for
weird noises.
Oh. Yeah, weird noises. I don't know where those are coming from, but
the fuck.
What? I hear them too, though.
The fuck?
I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But basically, the Phoenix has managed to bait Rzuna out of position and pretty much cost him the game on that one.
So, I mean, that was a pretty... I'd say it was a pretty satisfying game 1. The end engagement was, a little bit one-sided, but still, I mean, it was great to see 2 death balls just collide. We don't actually see that often enough. The 4 bases, giant armies just clashing together. As Ling420 says here in the chat, I love huge endgame scenarios with maxed Protoss or Terran armies. Yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch, and that's one of the reasons I love TV or PvP. Not only for a lot of the shenanigans that can go on in the early game, despite being frustrating to play, are a lot of fun to watch. But also when it goes to the late game, it's still really entertaining. A lot of people don't like the whole death ball thing, where you've just got a massive units and you A-click. But for me, it's really interesting to see who can actually macro faster and get to that point quickest. Alrighty, so map 2.
Yep. All loaded in, everything.
Yep.
How's it going, Woodhouse?
Oh, I am still here. I'm loaded in.
Okay.
I'm not done yet.
Oh, you're not?
No. Sorry.
It's okay.
Just get so excited.
Chill.
Hey,
relax.
I haven't even had coffee yet.
You haven't had coffee yet, man. You gotta get on that. Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay. I am ready to go. Where are we starting?
Bottom right.
Cool. Okay. I'm ready.
All right, all set.
Yep.
Okay, counting down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off.
All right, spawning down here on the bottom right-hand side of Star Station, we do have our yellow Protoss player, Arazth, currently up in this series 1-0.
And spawning on the top right as the blue Protoss pieces, a very well fought game one, but it just wasn't enough. We have our Rzuna, who I feel still has a chance in this. He played very well in that last game. It was just a little tiny mistake that ended up in him losing that death ball engagement. But we will see if he can come back. What do you think we're going to see, Woodhouse? This is, we saw the Blink Stalker opener from Rzuna, the Robo opener from Arazth in that last game. Do you think we're going to see anything change up as far as Protoss openers?
You know what? I really don't think so, and I think we may see the players change it up themselves, but I don't think we'll see a direct change up in the builds, because obviously those are two very well-known builds that people like. So it makes sense to keep doing stuff like that.
Yeah. Definitely safe openers as well. Neither player was really trying to go for an all-in in that last game, which is respectable. Like we were saying, all-ins are fun to watch, but if you can play a good macro game as a Protoss, definitely respectable. And I feel like we're probably going to see that again here in game 2.
Yeah, we do have the first assimilator coming down now for our Rzuna, and double assimilator coming out of Arazth.
And a double assimilator also out of our Rzuna. So pretty much identical at this point on probe, gateway, gas timings. We'll see where this actually starts to, where the disparity starts to form here. Rzuna, not actually, there he goes. Throwing some harvesters onto those casts as they're finished up, dropping the cyber core, of course. Again, our Arazth also with identical cyber core timing.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, both players looking like they're going to go for an identical opener, which is fine, just in terms of...
Look at up top here. Arazth did hide this probe way down at the bottom. Don't know if maybe he'll be going for a proxy pylon or something of that sort, or just save it for a scout later on. Ooh, Arazth drops the Stargate. They're in his own mineral line, which he is going to try to... Oh, he's going to try to stop Rzuna from seeing it, but if we check the vision, he does see that coming. Rzuna has spotted the Stargate.
So now it just becomes a game of responses, and actually, if we look at the warp gate timing, they're very close to similar. Obviously, one's a little bit ahead because of the chrono boost, but for the most part, they're almost identical.
Yeah, it looks like Rzuna drops the Twilight Council, so perhaps going for Blink once more, which I suppose Blink Stalkers are a little bit more effective against Void Rays and Oracles, but in general, not the perfect counter. But yeah, it looks like we're going to see Oracles out of Arazth here. And the mothership core on the way for Arazth as well. So I really think Rzuna just might go with what he did that last game. It seems that that's what he's comfortable with. He did a really good job with those early stalkers. Now, the Oracle is out, or isn't out, but it will be out here shortly, and stalkers will be able to deal with Oracles a lot better than they can deal with Void Rays. So I wonder if he'll actually go for a similar push to last time, as there is no Robo.
You know what? I think that's probably a good guess, and that's only confirmed really by obviously scouting that Stargate, knowing that his opponent doesn't have anything really that can shut down any sort of a blink push. I mean, even if, say, he gets a Void Ray out on the field, you figure you're going 3 Stalkers at a time, you're going to be able to take care of that. Now, we do have 2 Stalkers and that Oracle coming across the map for Arazth.
Yeah, and 3 more Stalkers have warped in for Arzuna, accompanied by that Mothership Core. They are heading across the map now. Blink is a little over halfway done, so not quite finished, but I think it'll be done by the time the Stalkers actually get down here. Looks like Arazth actually pulled back a couple Stalkers and sends in that Oracle. I don't know. We do see Arzuna with a Stalker in the base, but I think one-on-one the Oracle will win this.
Okay, there's at least one Stalker here now.
Ooh, and he takes off. Gets 1 probe, gets 2, gets 3.
And look at the micro on that Oracle. Gets 3 kills. The rest of these Stalkers are going to come in, and they do get it. So that is effectively shut down. Now,
I wouldn't actually say that was worth it.
No, I would definitely agree that is not worth it. And what I would assume is going to happen now is we're going to see that push start from Arzuna, just the constant blink pressure. You know, can you defend me over here? Okay, you did. Well, I'm going to try and hit over here. And just continue to peck away at the defenses of his opponent. Now we do see an expand coming out of Arazth and the expand also coming out of Arzuna. Now, if we look at that timing, Arzuna's is slightly ahead. So assuming they get up and running, Arzuna will be slightly ahead economically.
I do think that Arzuna needs to make this push happen as soon as possible, though. The second Void Ray is just about finished. And when there are 2 Void Rays on the field, these Stalkers are just going to get absolutely annihilated. Even
we do have a time warp coming down now, and yeah, it's definitely... Oh, the second Void Ray is out. Vision of that Mothership Core is helping to pick off some of the pylons, possibly... Nope, not actually supply blocking Arazth.
Maybe with help from a time warp, they might be able to do better against these Void Rays, but I don't really... I mean, if Arazth picks his engagements wisely, he might be able to make it happen.
And actually just opting to back off. No, I'm not completely against this, because he's backing off, adding a Templar Archives and 3 more gateways.
Honestly, yeah, I would agree with that. I think that's probably the best decision, because, I mean, even with Blink, 2 Void Rays and Prismatic Alignment is a lot to deal with.
Yeah, definitely, and I like I said, I do like the decision to pull back, and we do see a Forge coming out of him as well.
Several gateways being dropped down, 2, just pretty standard on that. So I'm expecting we'll see Archons once again. Forge is also identical Forge timing for both of these players. Going to start getting up on those upgrades, which is pretty standard thing we'll see here in the mid game. I wonder if we'll see another Death Ball collision. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. And you know what? I think that's almost bound to happen. Both of these players are able to defend the early pressure from the other, and really then once you get beyond that, it's just a matter of really waiting to see who can get to Death Ball first, who can fend off the little attacks here or there.
Yeah.
And just kind of go in that direction, and hopefully the Death Balls clash and it becomes like a spectacular atomic explosion.
You know, something else I want to commend both of these players on is definitely their scouting ability and their sensible awareness, I suppose. Because, I mean, if you see the Observer here, just getting all sorts of information on Arzuna. And in that last game, we saw back and forth observers from both players, just collecting information on everything. That and the hallucinated phoenixes as well. Definitely well done by both of these players, doing their best to keep an eye on their opponent, just so they know exactly how to react. And also the War Prism heading across the map here is going to get spotted by this El Naga.
Yeah, and that's going to get pretty easily shut down. Now, Warp Prisms are amazing, obviously, if they don't get seen, but when you've got a probe sitting out here in broad daylight and it clips the edge and you know it's coming.
With Blink, is it going to get it? I think... So close. No, not quite.
Oh, nope, and it escapes with 18 health. We have 2 Archons and a High Templar sitting back here at the front for Arzuna. So Arzuna actually teched into that high tier unit fairly quickly in comparison to like last game, where it took just a little bit longer to get there. Now he's going to go ahead and send that Observer over here to the edge to make sure that Warp Prism isn't very pesky.
Yeah. Also, Arzuna dropping down a Photon Cannon here at the natural, just as an added layer of a defense against that Warp Prism. Definitely a good call. But also look at this Dark Stride once again out of Arazth, as well as that Robo Bay. I mean, he really wants to use that Warp Prism.
Yeah, and I mean, it's very opportunistic. Now we see the Warp Prism going back to the base. But I mean, the Dark Templars, as we've had in discussions before, make for just a great addition to any Death Ball. just by proxy of how much damage they do. I mean, even if you've got an observer there, there's a good chance they're not going to get targeted right away. So I mean, they'll definitely go in and push out some extra damage for you.
Hallucinated Phoenix from Arazth heading over here and is going to spot that third base. We will see if he actually decides to take his own third after noticing his opponent has grabbed that. Rzuna ahead on supply by just a bit.
If we look at the upgrades count right now, actually, we do see Arazth is working on 2-2, while his opponent has yet, I think he's only on 1-1. No, he's on 1-0.
Yeah, Arzuna only has one weapon right now. By the way, that's another awesome thing about GameHeart. Shows you the upgrades right there at the bottom. Just saying, man. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
How about no? How about you go suck one?
And the penis jokes commence.
That's okay. So we see another warp in from Arazth coming out. We do have 4 Archons on the field for Rzuna, 12 Stalkers and 1 Sentry, to the 1 Colossus, 2 Stalkers, and 3 Void Rays of Arazth.
Dark Templar has warped in for Arazth, and it's going to get picked off by these photon cannons. Definitely well done by Rzuna.
There is a little bit of vulnerability up here in the main, though. He is going to go ahead and try and take out those forges.
There is a lack
the
of
Zealots
protection up here.
And yeah.
Oh no.
Rzuna all over the pole, though.
If the forge falls, this is going to be huge. But I don't think it actually... Oh, might it... Oh, no, 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 no. I think it's going to fall. No. Oh, he loses the upgrade. Oh, that is not good at all. So now he is behind even more on his upgrades. Meanwhile, Arazth just having 2-2 just about done here, throwing in the Colossus into the composition. I think this is slowly gonna go in Arazth's favor. If he's able to get up to that death ball status quicker and stay ahead on his upgrades.
Well, and I mean, even just by proxy of the upgrades, and as long as his positioning stays well focused and things like that, he doesn't get caught out of position, he will turn out just fine.
Yeah.
So now we do see a third Colossus joining the Death Ball of Arazth. Arazth actually ahead in supply right now, attacking down 3 more gateways, and we do see the big push coming out from Rzuna across the middle of the map.
No Colossi, though.
No, Rzuna actually does control all vision on this map, so Arazth is just going to possibly get caught with his pants down.
He is ahead on the upgrades, though. He is at 2-2. Meanwhile, Rzuna is only at +1. 3 attack is on the way for Arazth as well. So, I mean, that's just going to be huge. You know, the supplies are equal, but he's just so far ahead on upgrades that I think, really, I expect this engagement to go in Arazth's favor.
The first line of Stalkers actually just getting completely obliterated by those Colossi. Now, the reinforcements do come in.
All the Zealots have fallen for Rzuna.
The Planetary Nexus does go down. These Void Rays are in Photon Overcharge, and they are all going to get taken out.
Oh, no, yeah. This is exactly how I expected things to go.
And
Only losing 1... Oh, okay, so second Colossus falls, but he completely cleans that up. However, a huge gateway unit warp in here for Rzuna is able to kind of level out the supply after that engagement. Arazth is still ahead by 20.
So now we do see a couple of Zealots coming out of Arazth to come over here and try and take control of this watchtower. And the small push out from Rzuna to just turn around and deny that.
He will spot the pylon on the probe, you know, but he won't be able to grab that tower. And those Zealots are just going to get picked off quite easily. Yeah, Arazth dropping down a Templar Archives of his own, start throwing in some Archons into his own composition. And yeah, we are going to see the Colossus for Rzuna start to be produced here as Extended Thermal Lance is on the way.
Yeah, and we do have the 4th base for Arazth coming out as well. So both players are going to be sitting on 4 bases, and Rzuna is a little bit farther ahead in that game. But we do have the small poke out here onto the right-hand side of the map, going to try and deny that base. But I think Arazth is going to be able to fend that off.
Yeah, Rzuna has the observer there, obviously, so he knows that base is going down. And I do feel like Arazth, like you said, will be able to deny this. Yeah, it looks like Arzuna just completely backing out there after seeing this death ball from Arazth head up here. I wonder. Okay, I was actually half expecting Arazth to start pushing out there, but looks like he's just content to stay home and begin to max up. Actually, throwing in another Void Ray into the mix. I don't think it's a bad call.
No, I actually like adding that in, and I like the style of play that we see coming out of Arazth. Just a very, very defensive, slow, methodical play that leads into this giant death ball that is basically just going to smash you in the face with upgrades, which is what he's managed to do so far.
He's at 3-3. 2-2 is actually just about finished for Arzuna, so once that's done, he won't be so far behind on upgrades. But if there is an engagement before Arzuna can get to 3-3, I think the engagement is just going to go in Arazth's favor, just simply due to those upgrades, as we saw earlier.
And we do see 2 more Dark Templars coming out across the map, and 2 Zealots. Now these Dark Templars are going to get spotted by that cannon. And perfect positioning on that cannon, right next to the Nexus, only allowing for one.
It's not what he wants. But he's gonna get it. He's gonna get it before the Zealot can kill it. Yeah, nicely done. Now, actually sniping that cannon before it can kill the Dark Templar. So
we do get another cannon coming down from Arzuna though, but this Dark Templar are going to be a royal pain. Now the Dark Templar did just one-shot the remaining Zealot that was still here.
Had the Observer there, and I thought the Zealot might be able to take on the Dark Templar, and it just didn't happen. There we go. Now that is cleaned up, sends his probes right back to work. 193 out of 200 for Arazth. Meanwhile, Arzuna sitting at 185 out of 200, and 3-3 is on the way for Arzuna. So, in about 150 seconds, he will be caught up on the upgrades.
And we do see the Warp Prism from Arzuna coming across the left-hand side of the map, completely loaded with Zealots. I don't know the destination on that, but we will see. I would assume it's the second base, but we actually see the push out from Arazth coming in, 199 of 200.
And he's also dropping a fleet beacon behind this push.
I like that a lot. Maybe we'll see some carriers.
Carriers or possibly Tempest to deal with those Colossus a little bit quicker.
Yeah, either of those would be a really good response, and we actually do see the force from Arzuna going to try and push that little blueberry across the map and come deal with this, but that is going to be a bigger push than he intended.
Oh, no, he can't let these Stalkers get caught. Are they going to just absolutely die? Oh, he blinks them back, saving a few of them, but he needs his entire force here to deal with this.
Yeah, and I'm sure he realizes the bulk of this army is right here, and the warp in from Arzuna in the natural is just going to be devastating. Now the Zealot's getting almost a complete surround on that Nexus, but then the engagement happens, and oh my god, Arzuna in terrible position again. All of these Colossus able to fire, losing almost everything. We do have a defensive warp in from Arzuna, but it's not going to be enough. Getting pushed back into this corner, allowing Arazth to basically run rampant, and we do get the photon overcharge, or not the photon overcharge, the prismatic alignment, excuse me, on those Void Rays.
Trying his best to micro, but really he's just going to lose everything here. The Colossus spread from Arazth was too great. I think that the biggest thing in that last engagement was Arzuna's Colossi was just focusing on the Zealots when everything else he had was just completely out of place. And there's the GG. And Arzuna is now down 2 games in this series.
Yeah, and as per the last game as well, it just comes down to positioning and how he gets caught in these weird positions where he's actually funneling units, and then you get the combination of that and good force fields coming out of Arazth, and it makes it just really hard to deal with. In that case, he probably shouldn't have engaged there, instead pulled back, let his opponent come to him, and that engagement probably would have gone a lot differently.
Still, I think that both players played very well.
Yeah.
These games are definitely not one-sided. It really, like you just said, comes down to positioning at the end. I mean, both of their macro is very top tier. We're seeing some very good play out of both of these Protoss players right now. So let's move on to Game 3. See if Arzuna can't turn this around.
I hope so. I do want to see a full 5-game series out of this. This is a lot of fun to watch. These are the PvP that happen every game where it literally comes down to one person just being a little bit out of position in that engagement, deciding the game. As frustrating as that is to play, those are the games that are a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, Arzuna did make that mistake twice in those first 2 games here. So we'll see if he can't fix that and not make that mistake again here in game 3. Zero is going AFK for 1 second, though.
I am going to go grab some water while he does that, so I will be right back as well.
That is just fine. So in the meantime, I suppose I should address the chat. We haven't done that in a little while. Thanks for joining us, everybody. A lot of familiar faces there in the chat. Definitely nice to see you guys here with us. And Faust, your link there, that's purple, and I think I'm going to leave it like that. I've probably seen it before. And a lot of the stuff that you link here in the chat is not very pleasing for me to either hear or look at. So just going to stay away from that link there. Hopefully that's all right with you. All right, penis fan. I'd rather not have seen that. Or dildo fan, I suppose. Same thing.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that.
No worries. Zero is still AFK for now.
So how's everybody in the chat doing? Chat kind of calmed down there for a while.
Yeah, I asked them. Got Foss to talk a little bit, but most everybody else is pretty calm for now.
Got to keep the masses calm.
Definitely. Well, I haven't seen Forever Bronze chime in a little while. I don't know what happened to him, man. He was here during his games, but now he's abandoned us. All right, Zero Lambda has returned. Zero?
Yes, I'm here.
Nice. So you are good to go for game 3. Are you loaded in?
Yep, loaded in, all set up.
Cool. Where are we starting off?
Top of the map.
Nice.
Wonderful.
Okay.
So you can give us that countdown.
I suppose.
Okay.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off.
So.
All right, so spawning up here on the top side of the map in the center position, we do have Arazth, our yellow Protoss player, able to take the last 2 games off of his opponent.
And the blue Protoss species here on the bottom of Polar Knight, Rzuna, who is down 2 games. Looking to see him bring this series back. If he loses this game, he's done. You can't allow that to happen.
Yeah, exactly. You don't, I mean, in a tournament setting, you never want to go 3-0, but I mean, it happens a lot. And in fact, if you go look at the recent IEM stuff, there were a lot of 3-0 results or 2-0 results.
Yeah, and that's rather unfortunate. Actually, that happened in our own Gold Division tournament during Winterland 2. We had 7 players, one ghost player that didn't show up, sadly, but only one of the series went differently than a 2-0 or a 3-0, and that was Scipio versus Aurelius, which was a 3-2. It was a good series, probably arguably the best series of that tournament. But yeah, it's definitely nice to see players kind of try to come back and not get completely stomped.
Yeah,
and that, that's not to say that that's been happening for Rzuna. He's played very well. It's really just an unfortunate turn of events near the end of the game that has cost him the game. He definitely has not been completely outplayed.
No, in fact, Rzuna has been doing a fantastic job, and actually both players have been. These have been 2 very, very well-played games. It's just been, like we've been saying for the last couple post games, it just comes down to those little things like positioning and Colossus count. I mean, those are the things that are ultimately going to win or lose you games. And those are the things that we're seeing. We're seeing that are catching Rzuna off guard.
Yeah. You see the probe scout from Arazth here in the base of Rzuna. Just kind of zooming around there, looking for some information. Meanwhile, the scout probe from Rzuna is heading up the ramp here to Arazth's base. I'm going to spot the double gas as well. So, again, pretty much identical timings coming out from both of these players. I wonder what Arazth's actually going to go for. Probably not the Stargate again, but you never know. Maybe that'll happen. And it's a Twilight Council. What are we going to see out of Rzuna now? He actually left the base before actually seeing that go down. So what is his own response going to be? Or maybe not so much a response, but what is his own plan going to be, I suppose?
You know what? I'm not 100% sure. I'm kind of interested to see how both these players play this match out. We've seen basically an identical build come out of the first two games from Rzuna that he is now deviating from. And Arazth actually is taking his stance on it. And like I said, there's a good chance. Oh, actually, we do. We see the same
reversal.
builds. Yeah, we see the same builds come out of these players, but not out of the same player. We saw the same build come out of Arazth 2 games in a row. Now Rzuna is turning the tables and stealing his build. And we do see Blink coming out from Arazth,
Who basically is now stealing that from Rzuna. So it's going to be interesting to see if Rzuna is able to build this, or not build, win this game. I think we can conclude that the player that goes Twilight Council first loses.
I don't know that we can conclude that off of one series. Like, I don't know that that's possible.
It's a sample size of 3, and that's good enough, right?
Sample size of 3 for now, and no, it's not.
All right.
I object to that one.
Sadly, you're probably right. We can't jump to conclusions like that, but still, it's kind of an interesting tidbit to see that between these two players alone, which of these builds is actually more successful.
Yeah, and I mean that's.
Okay, so actually, never mind. That is Arzuna's probe. I thought it was something else. He has no idea there's a Stargate and an Oracle on the way, but he has a great spread right now. He's got probes, stalkers all over the map, the mothership core as well. But Blink is just about done, so he's probably going to be able to make use of this before the Oracle is out. And I don't think Rzuna wants to show that Oracle anyway, so I don't think they'll use it to actually take care of this. But this could prove to be pretty annoying here. Ooh, but the Oracle is going to get spotted right away.
Yeah, that's actually some pretty bad timing by Rzuna. He is going to get 1 kill on that and do a little bit of damage over here on that pylon, but then going to get denied immediately by those stalkers.
Yeah, and he is going to know what's up. Arazth will be prepared for something like that at home. Rzuna actually dropping his own expansion. No expansion out from Arazth yet. Looks like he's just going to go full-fledged Blink for now.
Yeah, and I mean, look at this. I mean, I just find it kind of funny if you look at how the stalkers were shooting up. You get like the 90-degree arc on those lasers.
Yeah. Yeah, like this right now.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you just watch those, that's kind of entertaining, actually. Oh, and the blink up, so here we go, the mass blinking action.
Will actually get sniped, so he won't be able to blink back up.
Ooh, but this is still really brutal. Yeah. Now, the photon overcharge did go off, but now Arazth is kind of stuck, at least for the moment.
Yeah, he can't blink back up there. I mean, obviously, with the stalkers up there, he can blink up, but if they go down, they won't be able to come back up because the mothership core is done. But he also has an observer on the way that will probably supplement this. But this is just going to be a scary push. But I mean, ooh, nice liftoff there.
Phoenixes are Phoenix OP. I'm going to call that now.
I think this is very well done by Rzuna.
Yeah, definitely. Rzuna playing into his strengths in this game, definitely with the micro of those Phoenixes.
It's like, hey, you want to use my medicine against me? Well, sorry, buddy, it's not going to work. I know how to handle my own strats.
Exactly, and we see the deviation from Arazth's strat here with the usage of these Phoenixes. Now, this is something in IEM earlier today that I was seeing players do against Zerg, specifically in the Hyun and Patience match. Patience actually opened up 2 out of the 3 games with this exact Stargate and Phoenix Oracle opener. And it worked out for him. He ended up actually 2-1ing Hyun, so spoilers, I'm really sorry, but...
Proxy Pylon is getting picked off here.
Yeah, and I'm impressed with how well it works out overall.
You see the observer here from Arazth gonna spot this natural expansion. Meanwhile, also dropping his own. He also added a 4th gateway on there, so pretty standard stuff there. Throwing in an immortal. So it seems like he's just pretty content to do the kind of the same thing that he's been doing, despite this blink opener. Just kind of throw in those higher tier units. But yeah, we're gonna see these Phoenixes do a lot of damage here at this Nexus. Ooh, but the blink in definitely well handled by Arazth there. Rzuna able to get 4 workers.
Yeah, and I like this Phoenix play a lot. It's one that I actually wish myself I could pull off a little bit better. If you were watching me earlier, I tried once and failed a lot. Like, I failed pretty hard at it.
And Rzuna continues to add on to the Phoenix count. He just added in a 5th Phoenix.
And, that's usually where you stop, and that's coming today. If you just notice the Phoenix counts of Patience, for instance, he never really went above 6. Like, between 5 and 6 is about standard. It gets done what you need to do. It's kind of like the workhorse if you're going to continue to go down that tech path. And then you start adding in the Void Rays or more Phoenix, depending upon how you're feeling. Now, he is adding in 1 more, so he's up to 6.
Arazth also dropping that Dark Shrine once again for this 3rd game, and we'll see if he can't actually make better use of it. In game 3 here.
And we do have a probe actually back here on a smoke break.
Nice.
The rest of the army.
He's carrying some minerals, man. He's doing his part.
It's true. Now, we did see the Phoenix count stop at 6, but we do have a Forge and a Twilight Council on the way for Rzuna. And a Warp Prism actually coming out of Arazth.
Loses 1 of his... actually, no, he didn't lose 1. Never mind. I thought he lost 1 due to that Blinken, but no. He still has all 6 of his Phoenix.
Charge is now on the way for Rzuna, as well as level 1 ground weapons. Now, the Dark Shrine is just about done for Arazth, so Arazth gonna become very pesky. Now, I'm fairly convinced that Rzuna actually saw that. Yes, he did. If he was paying any attention at all, he saw the building warping in. He can only about imagine that it's just about done. So I would assume we'll see some sort of a correct response coming out of Rzuna.
He might have seen it, but I don't know if he actually knew what it was. That could also be a pylon. I mean, with that positioning, it might be indicative that it is a Dark Shrine, but he was busy microing those Phoenixes, so maybe he didn't get time to actually click on it.
Yeah, and that's possible. And actually, based on what we're seeing now, where it's... no, he does actually have an observer out on the field. Or no, that's our Arazth. So he does not have an observer. So I'm going to go with what... I'm going to agree with you. I think he wasn't paying close enough attention to it.
But he did use those Phoenix there at the natural once again, doing another run by, and up to 13 workers killed now. So that's definitely going to be effective. But we do see 2 Dark Templar in this Warp Prism in the main, and this is going to be... Oh no, this is going to do a lot of damage here.
No.
We don't have any detection out for Rzuna.
And the Zealot Warp in up here as well. Now those DTs are going to go ahead and just work away at this Nexus. The Observer is just about done. Rzuna going to come back here and pick off this Warp Prism, so that's going to be slowly but surely shut down.
Is no detection, though.
Oh, no, the Observer is out.
Oh, there it is. Okay, so he is able to save that Nexus.
Yep, the Observer does see everything that's going on, and that gets cleaned up, and that's that.
He did lose some mining time there. He was forced to pull a lot of probes, and also lost a couple. So, not up to the 13 workers killed for Rzuna, but Arazth is now up to 8.
And we actually see, interestingly enough, another Warp Prism coming out for Arazth.
I wonder if he's going to try to, maybe drop and warp in 2 different spots. That could be very difficult to really handle. When you get split in 2 different directions, it's always kind of frustrating to try and deal with both of the pushes.
And oh my God, look at this. Arazth is actually supply blocked.
Uh-oh.
Okay, no more. It is no more.
But look over here at the third base. The War Prism is arriving. Rzuna has no idea that War Prism is sitting there. If there's another DT Warp, and he's actually going back to the main with more DTs, but there is a Photon Cannon there, so it won't be as effective. He's going to fly right past the Photon Cannon. There's another one. He's going to lose it. Yeah.
Oh, he does. He loses that one Warp Prism, but we do get a big Zealot Warp in over here at the third. And these units are going to slowly start to pick away, being very, very annoying. And the Warp Prism is going to get the hell out of there. And we do get a response Warp in from Rzuna, but a lot of those Zealots taking a lot of damage on that Warp in, forcing the units of Rzuna to pull over there to deal with this.
Oh, man. So Rzuna, actually, I mean, both of these players are even on upgrades right now. Arazth is actually going for ground weapons level 2 and armor level 1. Meanwhile, Rzuna is only researching ground weapons level 2, so Arazth will, or Arazth will begin to pull ahead here on the upgrades.
And here we do see the beginnings of a push. Going to try and take care of those Phoenixes and actually deciding to pull back. I like that play. Now we do have a Robotics Bay coming down for Arazth and Extended Thermal Lance coming out of Rzuna. So that gives you kind of a scale of reference of how far off these players are in terms of which tech paths they went down at what time.
Yeah.
Because Extended Thermal Lance is going to be done here in just a few seconds, meaning that the Colossus count is going to be in the favor of Rzuna from the very beginning.
Ooh, a couple more DTs here at the third base. They're going to get one of the Photon Cannons, but there are... oh, it actually lifts the DT. Well done by Rzuna.
Lifting one of the Zealots, and yeah, that there again, that's taken care of. That's that.
It's like he's able to handle the harassment of Arazth a lot better this time around.
Yeah, and I mean, we do see a couple of Archons coming out. The High Templar are out on the field as well. So Rzuna actually in the better position this game to get up to that Deathball status a little bit faster. Obviously, keeping control of the air the entire time, being very, very pesky with those Phoenixes, a very integral part of that build that makes it work so well.
I mean, and the income right now is heavily in Arzuna's favor. So, I mean, just look at the supply as well. 155 to 92. That just kind of gives you an idea of how far ahead Rzuna has been and how really worthless the DT harassment from Arazth has been. I really feel like Rzuna is in a much better position this game, and he will be able to probably take it away if he engages. You know, he's going to be up on the Colossus count, up Extended Thermal Lance is coming out for Arazth, so it'll be done here in a little bit. And Arazth is ahead on upgrades, up by 1 armor. But as it currently stands, go ahead.
We see, where did I see it? There was a Templar Archive that just finished for Arazth. It's back here in the back of the base. So in terms of, oh no, but he's leaving his Phoenixes out in the middle. One does get taken out. But in terms of like the Archon count, now things are going to start to even out a little bit.
Yeah, I mean the supply still is heavily in Arzuna's favor, but as his third base is solidified for Arazth, he will be able to start coming back here. Rzuna is ahead on the probe count as well, so the income is going to be a little bit higher. Over the Zealot harass here. With the DT thrown in there, takes out one of those Photon Cannons. Will he be able to get the second one? Oh, he completely surrounds it with the probes there. Wow. Well done by Rzuna.
And the Phoenix is again denying any sort of harassment by Arazth. Very good play by Rzuna to continue just to deny the overall effectiveness of the multi-pronged harassment.
I really loved how he surrounded the Photon Cannon with the probes there to keep the DT and Zealots off of it. Nicely done.
And we do see the 4th base for Rzuna going down, opting to take that base behind the natural. Very good play, very secure expansion at this point in the game.
And he's still very far ahead as the supply goes. He's at 189 to Arazth's 122. So at a 67 supply lead, if he decides to actually go for a push, he might be able to actually do quite a bit of damage. But then again, Arazth is at 3 weapons and 2 armor. Meanwhile, Arzuna's only at two weapons. So that is one disadvantage that Rzuna has. Ooh, he's going to move out across the map here.
I don't like this at all. This is going to end very, very poorly because we see the army of Rzuna coming to the center of the map to try and engage this.
Uh-oh. He does see that he's going to be able to come back here and deal with this.
He needs to snipe that mothership core. That needs to be priority number 1. No mass recall for you. And actually, Arazth for the moment gets away.
But I think Arazuna is just going to follow him. I think he's just going to push this.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't.
He's going all the way around here. Is he going to go back towards the middle or choose his path over here to the left side? Looks like that's what he's going to do. Gets the Zealots in front. Well done. He's got to choose this engagement very wisely here. Ooh, but no.
And actually, nice spread there at the beginning of the engagement, trying to stay out of that photon overcharge. I don't know if you saw him kind of bend around that little the hole in the ground, but he that was really well done.
So many hallucinated Archons as well.
And actually, again, Rzuna now in the position of trying to bait out the engagement. He does exactly that. The Phoenix come in from the side, doing the damage on the Colossi.
That spread, man, absolutely dominating that engagement despite being behind on upgrades. That was very well done by
Not
Rzuna.
good. Not good for Arazth.
Arazth is just getting absolutely crushed in those two engagements there. Or that single engagement. He is going to lose his pace.
Yeah.
He does have a few Colossus here, but no units on the ground.
Yeah, those Colossus completely undefended. This is going to be a terrible engagement for Arazth to try and take, and yet he continues to try and take it. Rzuna with the reinforcement warp in, continuing to just work away at this army. There's actually no army left for Arazth.
Supply absolutely just plummeted for Arazth. Down to 30 supply to Arzuna's 153. This is definitely game over. Rzuna, very well played here. Able to completely turn this series around for now. He isn't tied up just yet, but he did do very well in this third game here now. And I think he's going to be able to take it here pretty shortly. And once he denies his third expansion over here, it's just the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, looking back at the game as a whole, I think that nail had been driven for a while, especially with the prolonged, controlling Phoenix harass and things like that Rzuna was doing.
Yeah.
That worked out so well for him. You know, I think that final nail had been driven a little while ago.
Arazth doesn't want to lose this game. He realizes he can afford it, but he's going to hang on a little bit longer here. But this is him at all. He's got a few Archons and Zealots here. Loses a ton of probes there. His third base is denied. Meanwhile, Rzuna is on 4 bases with a huge bank. This is definitely game over here.
Rzuna hitting the Facebook money here in terms of cash income.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think this is lights out. And there's the GG from Arazth.
Nice. Well done by Rzuna. The series is now at a 2-1. So we are going to go on to game 4.
Wonderful. Are we going to see our first 5-game series of the night with this one?
It's certainly possible. I think, both of these players are very skilled. And if Rzuna plays, like he did this game, especially with that Phoenix harass earlier on, it was apparent that Arazth wasn't quite used to dealing with that. I think he can actually pull this off. But at the same time, now Arazth does know that this is up Arzuna's sleeve, so he might be able to react a little bit better.
Yeah, definitely. And I think each of these players is going to be looking for a build similar to what they just saw, in terms of what's the other player got in their hand. Now, obviously, if it goes to a game 5, you pull out your best. But I mean, in terms of a game 4, that was really the game that Arazth had to give away. Yeah. And he did exactly that.
I will say that these past 3 games have just been phenomenal. It's been a great PvP series so far. I'm excited for game 4.
So am I, and maybe we'll actually, I don't know, we'll have to see if we can get you guys out of here in time for day 9. I don't know if we're going to make it, especially if this goes to 5.
Oh, no, yeah. It looks like day 9 will be starting here in a couple minutes, but that's all right. We are here on game 4 on Derelict Watcher TE.
So stay with us. Definitely stay with us.
Yeah, definitely. Zero Lambda, you want to give us a countdown?
Oh, yeah, sure. Maybe.
When he gets into the game, I would assume.
No, I'm in. I'm all set up, actually.
All right, good to go.
Where are we starting off, man?
All right, top right, not top left.
Okay. Not top left.
Not top left. No, you shouldn't go top left. I don't know if you're gonna see much up there.
Spawning over here on the top left.
Yeah, we have an empty base.
Exactly.
Jeez. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, so spawning up here on the top right-hand side of Derelict Watcher TE, we do have our yellow Protoss player currently up in the Series 2-1. Dropping that last game, we do have Arazth.
And the blue Protoss pieces are Rzuna, who needs to win this game, and another one following to take the series away. But well done, getting back into this series, not losing that game, or that the entire series. It's a 3-0, so definitely it'll be interesting to see what he decides to do for this fourth game here. If he's got another build up his sleeve, it'd be nice to see.
So yeah, I mean, in this case, what do you do? If you're Rzuna, do you go with what just worked for you, or do you assume that your opponent's going to do that?
You know, I almost feel like he might just do that again. You know, it was apparent that no matter how many times he tried the blink opener, he was shut down. But the Phoenix worked very well, and you know, in game one specifically, he opened up with blink stalker. Arazth didn't know for sure that was coming, but he was able to handle it when he saw it. So, you know, that indicates that maybe he's got a little bit more experience with that sort of thing. But also when Rzuna pulled out the Phoenix, you know, Arazth really had a hard time dealing with it. So I think Rzuna might just stick with that.
Yeah, you never know. And from Arazth this time, I would almost expect to see the same builds that we saw in games 1 and 2. And if that ends up being the case, we'll see basically a matching of air superiority. And then it's going to come down to the micro of the players, which should be a lot of fun to watch. This entire series to this point has been a lot of fun to watch. And I'm actually, as much as we're supposed to be unbiased, I'm actually kind of hoping for Rzuna.
Yeah, also Forever Bronze did say that in the chat. Rooting for the underdog, you know, he wanted Rzuna to come back. He lost those first 2 games, and it wasn't like a heavy loss. If I was Rzuna, I would be pretty upset with those losses because they were just they occurred just because of a slight mistake. You know, the positioning that wasn't perfect.
Yeah, and I mean those are just mistakes that are bound to happen. And actually, Rzuna gets the probe trap there.
Nice.
But I mean, those are mistakes that are bound to happen. And obviously, you know, you get caught up into a game and you're just like, oh, I want to go kill those Phoenix so I don't get harassed. Well, then that drags you out of position. And then you die. I mean, like, those are just small mistakes, stuff that happens that psychologically you just kind of have to overcome. To quote the late, great Brett Favre, and he's not really late, but, you know, you've got to have amnesia between games or plays, depending upon which sport you're in, and just forget about what happened, move forward, focus on what you're doing right now, and try and make those changes.
Brett Favre, huh?
Brett Favre. We are actually bringing Brett Favre into this.
The guy who was supposed to retire so many times.
I think he was at 4. I think it was at 4.
Good riddance, right?
3 before he actually did. Retire from the Packers, go play for the Jets, supposedly retire again, go play for the Vikings, then actually retire. So no, 3 times. Never mind.
3 times too many.
3 times too many. That is very, very right. Now we do see first Stalker coming out of Rzuna and a Robo coming out of Rzuna. So this is actually very reminiscent of game number 1, I want to say.
Yeah, it was game 1, and that was actually the build that Arazth preferred to go with. And it looks like, I mean, just identical builds out of both of these players.
Oh,
wow,
shit.
Completely identical.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be insane. Nobody opting for Void Rays quite yet. Nobody opting for that early harassment. It's literally going to come down to that positioning.
Yeah, I'm just going for the 3-gate Robo this far. I wonder if your theory of, you know, the first one to expand is going to get punished will come into play here. So we do see the initial Stalker and Mothership Core are out. Rzuna only has his own Stalker.
Now, I like this play by Rzuna, especially early on in the game. You know, you make the distinction of whether you're going to get the Immortal first or the Observer first, and I like to get that Observer first if at all possible, just to get that early information.
He's going to catch this Mothership Core. Well, he tries to get it with the Time Warp, but I think he's going to lose it.
Oh my god, it gets away with 4 health. And then Rzuna driven back.
And now an Immortal is on the way, and that is definitely what I would go with as well. Obviously, you know, your opponent is putting on a little bit of Stalker pressure. Why not get out an Immortal? Arazth doing the exact same thing. He's got an Immortal in production out of that Robo facility.
Well, look at this. We actually have a proxy pylon coming down now for Arazth, and another probe gets picked off with those stalkers sitting down there.
He's also expanding.
Yeah, Warp Gate is finished, and the expansion is going down, as you just said. Now, we do have an Immortal out for Arazth, and this push is going to get sufficiently...
This Mothership Core is out of place. It's going to get sniped.
No.
And no, what? No, what?
Oh,
there it goes. Okay.
Command. Oh no, and there he goes. He actually gets it. So these 3 stalkers caught out of position. There is a probe on the way from Arazth. These stalkers are going to get pushed back. And did the probe get picked off? Yes, it did. And the expansion from Rzuna is coming down, but it is about 50 seconds behind Arazth's.
So another Immortal is on the way for Rzuna. Meanwhile, it's just identical unit counts right now. Save probes. I mean, Arazth is 4 probes behind, but both players are at 5 stalkers with 1 Immortal and a second one on the way. Arazth actually dropping down a couple more gateways. Wow, Rzuna going for that Robo Bay this early.
You know what? I like that play, though, because that gives you the early advantage on your opponent of having those Colossi out, and you can just continue to build that count, work the Colossi count throughout the course of the game, and it actually puts you in a really good position later on because you can focus on those other core units.
Yeah, and Rzuna actually getting out his own Mothership Core there as well. But yeah, once this Robo Bay is finished, she's going to start throwing in the Colossus. And yeah, like you're just saying, he's going to be ahead on the Colossus count. He's going to get a jump start on that. However, we do see a Warp Prism coming out for Arazth. So I wonder, is he just going for the Stalker, the Zealot Warpins?
You know what? I'm not 100% sure. I'm interested to see which direction these players decide to take this. Now, obviously, Rzuna with the early distinct transition and switch into directly Colossi, whereas we see his opponent getting a Forge, double Forge, and a few more gateways out, and we see a Warp Prism.
And the extended Thermal Lance is now in production for Rzuna at the 10-minute mark, so definitely going to be early Colossi out from him, and dropping down a Forge as well to start up on those upgrades. But once again, Arazth just so far ahead in the Forge timings, and also double Forge instead of single Forge, so he's going to be ahead on that on those upgrades. Though also, is that Observer still there? I do believe that I did catch that Robo Bay. Meanwhile, has his Warp Prism down here.
He did catch the Robo Bay, and the Warp Prism, as you said, is going to come into the base. At this point, I'm not 100% sure who's ahead. Like, it's one of those weird moments where I'm like, well,
the supplies are almost identical. Same with the probe count. It's really, really interesting right now how this is all unfolding. Arazth has definitely been the only one to go for War Prism pretty much in this entire series. So it's definitely something that he likes to do.
And look at the spread from Rzuna at the front of his base. I like that a lot, actually, because at least at that point, you've got a unit spread.
War Prism here. Uh-oh. There's a Zealot Warpin there in the main for Rzuna.
And everything gets pulled back.
When Rzuna does have the Colossus out. Oh, and he picks up all of those Zealots there, but is he going to get caught? Is he going to get caught? The Stalkers are fast, and starts drop. Oh, that's a few of those Zealots out, but they're going to get picked off and cleaned up here. And Arazth actually just about done with his own Robotics Bay. Meanwhile, 1-1 just finishing up as well.
Whereas we just have 1-1 or level 1 weapons starting for Rzuna. So Rzuna going to be behind again in the upgrade count, but again, at this stage of the game, looking at where both of these players are, it's actually hard to pin down where the advantage lies. Obviously, now you're starting to get to the point where the upgrades are going to kick in, but you have extended Thermal Lance just now starting with Arazth, whereas his opponent Rzuna already has it and already has a Colossus out on the field.
At the same time, though, Arazth is dropping down that Twilight Council, so I'm expecting, just as we saw in every other game in the series, just going to drop down to Templar Archives and start to throw in those Archons. However, also he uses the Warp Prism for DT harass, so we will see if he actually goes down that route once again.
And Rzuna actually threw down a second Forge, still has yet to start anything out of it. But when he finally does, he'll be starting to catch up. Now we do see level 2 weapons coming out of Arazth. 1 is officially started, like both are started. Level 1 weapons just about to finish.
Third base
Level-
is identical from both of these guys.
Oh my god. They must have planned this. There must have been a text message like, "Yo dog, let's play an identical game."
Exactly. Also, Arzuna did just finish his own Twilight Council, starting charge for those zealots.
Oh,
And,
but we have a dark shrine coming down out of Arzuna.
Arzuna. Wow, yeah, so he's
Oh,
opting to go
no.
for those DTs now, but there is a Phoenix here, the hallucinated Phoenix. I think he's going to see it.
Uh-oh.
Let's check
Oh
the vision
my-
there.
oh.
Oh, no, he doesn't catch it.
Oh no, it gets picked off before it gets back there to see it. He does see the double forge, which I mean shouldn't be anything surprising at this point. Supplies, I would call this dead even
Yeah.
at this point. I mean, there's a force supply difference, obviously not going to be making that much of a long-term difference.
I think really the only difference between these two players right now are the upgrades. And yeah, there goes the Templar Archives for Arazth. When eventually throwing those Archons. Most likely not Storm. You know, we've seen Archons every game so far.
And we actually have 5 more gateways on the way for Arazth.
We do have 3 on the way as well for Arzuna. So yeah, players are definitely gonna begin adding to those death balls. Get that saturation on the third base. Ooh, but look at the War Prism for Arzuna here on the bottom right. And actually react with his own War Prism. And 4 DTs just warped in. Looks like, yeah, those are actually becoming Archons.
Yeah, and we get the small zealot harassment force over here from Arzuna. That's, oh my god, here it goes. We're gonna see a DT warp in. I would hope so.
No,
It is-
part of me doesn't think so because
Oh,
he just
no.
DTs back home to make Archons. But yeah, this is gonna get cleaned up pretty easily by Arazth.
You know, that provides still though a lot of scouting information for Arzuna. He knows exactly what his opponent's doing. He knows his opponent is sitting on identical base count at this point. And I mean, it gives him kind of a sense of security knowing where his opponent is.
Yeah. So, ground weapons level 2 just finishing up for Arzuna, as well as ground armor level 2 on the way, but 3/3 is in production for Arazth. Arazth definitely, this entire series, has been on top of those upgrades, so very well done by Arazth. The supply count's still very even for both of these players, though I think, you know, like we've seen, even though he got the Robo-Bait earlier on, Arzuna is just ahead by only 1 Colossus. Actually, okay, he's up by 2 now. He did have that 5th one pop out there. But
And actually, we see another warp prism coming out for Arazth that is going to get spotted by Arzuna.
yeah, I think when they engage, it's just going to come down to the upgrades, especially if they engage when 3/3 is finished for Arazth, but Arzuna does not have both of his upgrades done. But yeah, looks like, yeah, that Warp Prism is going to get picked off by these Stalkers.
Yeah, and actually, Blink isn't finished yet for Arzuna. In fact, it's about a quarter of the way done. We do see a second robotics facility going down for Arzuna, and Arzuna had presumed that there was going to be a drop coming into his base, so 5 Stalkers at the back of that base. And a Stargate coming out of Arzuna. So, I mean,
it's really interesting to see the composition thus far, though. I mean, Arazth definitely has his Zealot count is over double that of Arzuna. Meanwhile, Arzuna going for a heavier number of Stalkers as opposed to Arazth's, and their Archon and Colossus counts are pretty even. Though Arzuna is up by 2 Colossi, Coloxin rather.
2 Coloxin, yes. And
But yeah,
I mean, I'm looking at the chat and I see Zero's comment, and yeah, this is pretty amazing to see how well these upgrades and everything are just lining up.
the Dark
the
Shrine
same.
from Arazth also being thrown down. And looks like he's actually going for double Stargate here. Arzuna, I mean, is he going to throw in Tempest? It's going to be pretty interesting. I don't know. It looks like, okay, he's actually going for Void Ray. It'd be nice to see the Fleet Beacon go down for those Tempests, especially when your engagements are really coming down to who has more Colossus.
Yeah.
being able to pick those off before the engagement even starts could be huge. And I love
definitely. The range on the Tempest would be nice, but I do like the Void Rays. They add a nice touch. Now, Rzuna is maxed out. Arazth is still a little bit short, but Arazth also sees all of these forces sitting out here. And we're sitting at 7 Colossus. I mean, that is just insane.
7 Colossus for Rzuna and 6 for Arazth.
Oh god, but here we go.
The upgrades are very, very close, but Rzuna does not have the +3 armor. It has just begun, so he is at 3-2. Meanwhile, Arazth is at 3-3. This is going to be a great engagement here.
Arazth actually going to try and outflank his opponent. Going to go ahead and kill that destructible debris. Dusted Browder would be so proud.
Rzuna knows all about this, though, because of that Zelnaga. But
no. He's actually moving the Stalkers out of position. I don't know. I don't know if I like this.
He's just going to try to flank. I mean, this could work, but it also could go horribly.
And the Stalkers get given away by that probe trying to run by. Uh-oh.
This could actually be horrible.
You know what? I think this is going to be. He is going to get out of there with those Stalkers. Okay, so this isn't really as bad as it could have been, but still not that great. Now we do see the Warp Prism. Is it going to escape? Yes, it does.
He's still content to keep his army split up, and I just don't think that's the best decision.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Death Ball functions best as one big ball, obviously, as the name implies.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do some fancy things when you're not playing a mirror matchup, like hammer anvil maneuvers, pincer maneuvers. You can do all of that stuff when you're not playing a mirror matchup.
I love the proxy pylons here from Arazth.
Yeah, definitely.
To kind of just support this.
And we have a Warp Prism from Rzuna coming up across the top of the map, but I don't know if it's going to matter.
How this engagement goes, this is going to be...
no.
This is going to be what makes or breaks the series. Blinking those Stalkers to the high ground to start picking away at those Colossi. I love it.
I don't know that it's going to matter, though. There's a lot of Immortals in here for Arazth.
That there is.
Oh, my God.
Huge Zealot Orphan as well. They're just getting completely annihilated by those Colossi. Oh, man.
Oh, my God. These Immortals
so
making
even.
all the difference. And we do see the Void Ray even in here. The Void Ray going to actually force this retreat from Arazth. Supply dead even, at least when I said that, or started to.
134 to 135, that is incredible. And 3 armor is just about done. Now, Rzuna is also going for the Protoss Shields level 1. Oh, but the counterattack at the third, so many Zealots here. I think this third might even fall.
Oh my God, the harassment.
Oh, no. Back and forth. This is absolutely
Rapper Bronze, we're telling lies about me in the chat. I did not start playing WoW again at gunpoint.
But Rzuna is going to move into the third base here for Arazth. Will Arazth actually come in behind him with his... Yeah, looks like he's going to try to go ahead and take care of this. He could lose everything here if he's not careful.
And it does look like he is Oh my God, the engagement
is absolutely horrible.
Oh my God, the Colossus are falling.
Those Immortals, man. That Immortal is completely dominating that. But the supply are still so close. How is this possible? Everything must be at home.
Arazth and Rzuna having a DT party over here at the fort. There is no observer out on the field. Arazth, they're just sitting over here
just hanging out. They can't see each other. They don't know what's going on.
They don't. We do have another warp in, and an observer is finally out. Another Colossus is coming out for Arazth. And you know what? That observer is going to come here. Those are going to get taken out. This is going to get cleaned up, and we're back. We're back to pretty much even. And I say pretty much even, and there's a 20 supply difference.
You know that really, you know, when the upgrades, Rzuna actually pulling ahead on upgrades. I don't know if you noticed that with the +1 shields. So, you know, he still has a lot of income. He's actually ahead on income, so he might be able to recover completely from this. Depending on the fact that Arazth actually decides to push out here. And it looks like we might be getting ready to do that, doing another... Yeah, a lot of our High Templar, they're going to be morphed into Archons, and I think after this, he's going to move out.
You know, I would tend to agree. Now, he's going to go ahead and take that fourth base again. And, yeah, this is wild. This is one of the better PvPs I think we've seen in a really long time.
Yeah, this entire series has just been absolutely mind-blowing. I mean... You can only have so much of Scipio versus Aurelius before you need to move past the forest. It's been a long time since we've seen such a great macro PvP, and this entire series has just been fantastic.
And look at this, we get the Warp Prism coming out again from Rzuna. and a Dark Templar are going to come up here. He's going to be sadly disappointed to find a couple of cannons back here by the mineral line.
But this
Oh my god.
PTs are just taking out this 4th base.
The 4th
no.
base does fall.
That is going
my
to cut
God.
heavily into the income for Rzuna.
The chinks in the armor are beginning to show. That's what it's coming down to.
But we will see. There's another DT here at the 4th base. There is no detection over here, but the death ball is there. If he decides to move out of position, this DT could start taking out these probes and pretty much leave this same
they
position.
walk right by each other.
Oh, so
Is an observer in that pack.
Oh, no.
He does know it's there, so he does catch the DT.
and the observers there at the bottom right for Rzuna are taking care, or are not quite taking care of that. But yeah, there we go. Moves into death ball, but oh no, his army is completely out of place. And if this death ball from Arazth can take out this 3rd, he won't have any income left.
Yeah, that's the only real mining base he's got, and it's oversaturated, and yeah, this is just not good. Now, that 4th did go back down. The probes are going to continue to mine, but like you said, if this base gets taken out and the poking starts to begin, this is not going to be good.
Oh, but supply is 22 in Arazth's favor. Upgrades even for both players. Protoss Shield's level 2 on the way for Rzuna. But yeah, this is just going to heavily depend on this engagement right here. This is going to make or break the game, and I think Arazth has the upper hand here.
Arazth actually trying to bait that engagement out by attacking the gateways. Going to wait for a couple more Colossi. Now, if we go ahead and look at the units tab on here, we have 8 Colossi to 4.
He just baited out 3.
Oh,
Okay,
no.
yeah, definitely did not want to leave those 3 Colossi out at the front. Leading with Colossus is probably a very bad idea.
It's kind of like leading with Infestors. You just don't do it.
But we're going to see the engagement happen here very shortly.
Yep. And the A move has begun, and look at those charge lots charging in. Everything just getting completely demolished.
Man.
Even the Void Ray is not able to stem the tide of this push, and the Void Rays get
Zealots.
completely taken out. And there's the push. Oh my god.
Completely and utterly destroying Rzuna. There's GG. So Arazth taking this series 3-1. Wow, that was a very good series. That was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, my hands are shaking. was how good that one was.
Yeah, that was a very good final game of this series. It sadly did not go to 5 games, but a 30-minute finale in Game 4 here between both of these very talented Protoss players.